Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. In this special occasion, we will learn about the inference from the text. Last time we have learned about the inference from picture, and now we will discuss and learn about the inference from the text. Okay, as we know, the definition of inference, it is an educated guess about the text. Berarti perkiraan tentang sebuah teks. And as I said before, an inference is reading between the lines. What does it mean? It means that we have to look for the meaning, the intended meaning from the text. Makna yang tersirat di dalam teks, not explicitly explained in the text. Tidak dijelaskan secara gamblang, but we have to find makna tersirat yang ada di dalam text, okay? And next, an inference is not the first. It is not directly stated in the text you are reading, okay? Of course, because it is not explicitly explained in the text. Then we have to find it by some ways. When you infer, you find clues in the text and use what you've already known from personal experience. Okay, how we can find the intended meaning from the text? Then we have to find some clues from the text, menemukan clue-clue yang ada di dalam teks, and also relate it to our logical or our personal experience, and relate it dihubungkan dengan our personal experience or past knowledge to fully understand what the text is about. Jadi menemukan clue-clue yang ada di dalam teks dan kita hubungkan dengan personal experience so that we can find the intended meaning from the text. Good inference are backed up by supporting details from both the text and personal knowledge. Okay, so good inference is the relation between the details from the text and also the personal knowledge of the reader. Jadi ada dua hal, details from the text and the personal experience from the reader. And it has relation each other. How do you know that you are being asked to make an inference? Okay, there are some verbs that indicates that we have to make an inference from this text. The first, okay, actually, sometimes, usually it is in reading comprehension, okay? Suggest. If we find this verb, then we have to make an inference. Suggest, which answer does the text suggest is? So next, imply, which answer does the other imply is? Okay, we have to imply from the text. And next, infer, suggest, imply, infer, all of those have the same meaning. What can you infer from the text as the reason, blah blah blah, and then reasonably infer, kesimpulan yang beralasan. What can you reasonably infer is? And next, suggested that, with which would the author agree? With which answer would the author agree as? Which answer is the author agree with? And etc. Which sentence would the author most likely use? So these verbs are usually used in a reading comprehension, which the question asks about the inference. Di sini ada di soal-soal reading yang menanyakan tentang inference. Nah, kata-kata ini bukan hanya infer, but also there are some other verbs such as imply, reasonably infer, and etc. Okay, so next, inferring from the text. Okay, inferring from the text, taking conclusion from the text. So it's not related to the question, but if we read a book, so we want to infer or we want to conclude something from the text, then we need these ways to find or to make the inference. The first, define unknown words using context clues. Define unknown words using context clues. I said before that we have to find some clues from the text. That the first we have to define the unknown words. From these unknown words, so it maybe become the context clues. It can be the clues from the text. The second, learn about the character. Okay, learn about the character. From the text, we have to know, example, it is a novel. Then we have to know, we have to learn the character from everyone in the text, in the story. The next, picture the setting. Okay, we have to imagine in our mind how the setting of the story is, or how the setting of the text is. It is important. Determine the author's or character's feelings and bias. We have to determine, we have to find out the characters of the author, the feelings of the author. How does he feel, or how did he feel when he wrote this text? He wrote this story, and how is the feeling of the characters in the story? And next, draw the conclusion and make prediction based on the fact. Okay, after learning about the character, imagine or picture the setting, so knowing about the author's feeling, and the last, we can draw the conclusion and make prediction based on the fact in the text. Use your prior knowledge to better understand the reading. Okay, after finding those clues, knowing the characteristic, learning about the character, those are some clues. Itu adalah clue-clue atau tanda-tanda yang kita temukan dalam teks. Belajar tentang karakternya, bagaimana perasaan author ketika menulis teks tersebut. Nah, setelah itu kita buat kesimpulan dan kita hubungkan to our prior knowledge or to our personal experience. Nah, after that, we will have a better understanding to the text. So then, the conclusion or the inference between one person to another person will be different because of the different personal experience. So next, before we have discussed about the inference from the text, and now let's turn to the inference questions, which is usually we found it in reading tests. Okay, what is it? Of course, it is Inference question asks about the meaning of a line, paragraph, or even an entire passage. Okay, inference question. Sometimes in the question usually asks, what is the conclusion of the first paragraph? What you imply from the second paragraph? Nah, not only from the paragraph, it can also from the entire passage, from the entire text. Inference question often include the phrase could be interpreted to mean or suggested that. Sebelumnya, we have discussed about some verbs, beberapa kata yang digunakan ketika ada pertanyaan tentang inference atau conclusion. So, di sini juga bisa could be interpreted, bisa diinterpretasikan yang bermakna bla bla bla, atau suggested that. So next, an inference question requires you to make logical assumption and connection by using the information in the passage to come up with the conclusion, of course. And just remember this, then you find some clues in the text and relate it to your logical assumption or relate it to your logical experience, personal experience. By connecting or by relating those two, we can find or we can come up with the conclusion and inference from the passage or from the paragraph. Next. Okay. There are three main kinds of inference questions. There are three main kinds of inference question. The first, deduction, deduksi. The second is speculation. And the last is examination. So what are the differences between those three? Let's see. The first is deduction. It falls into this subcategory, asks you to fill in missing information. So this deduction question asks you to fill in missing information. Jadi deduction pertanyaannya adalah pertanyaan yang meminta kita untuk melengkapi sebuah informasi. Then we can call it is close to detail questions. Yang lebih menanyakan ke detail questions. Except that you must make a logical deduction rather than relying only on information in the passage. Jadi not only depending on the information in the passage, but also using the logical assumption. So, example. Then, what can I say here about the deduction is sometimes okay, this is the example. Close at hand is bridge over. This is the paragraph, blah blah blah. So the example of the question is, according to the passage, Wolf chose the setting of the bridge because it blah blah blah. Okay, then the question asks about the detail information from the text. Okay, which is not explicitly explained in the text. If we see the text, if we see this paragraph, we cannot find or we don't find any reason why the wolf chose the bridge. But we have to infer. Kita harus menyimpulkan kenapa. Okay, kenapa Wolf choose the setting of the bridge? Kenapa memilih bridge sebagai settingnya? Okay. The answer choices are is conducive to a mood fanciful reflection, or B provides a good view of the procession of the sons of educated men, atau C is within sight of historic episodes to which she alludes. D is symbolic of the legacy of past and present sons of educated men. Then the correct answer is B. You must deduce from the info given. So in my opinion, in my love, with Beyond the Bridge to Dream, usually kita berada di sana to dream or to have fanciful reflection. But that's not the case. In the text, that's not the case. Instead, now we have to do something as well standing on the bridge. What is that something else? Fixing our eyes on the procession of the sons of educated men. Then, the correct answer is B. Provide a good view of the procession of the sons of educated men. Okay. Next, speculation. This inference question asks you to speculate about the meaning, suggested meaning. So here are some inference question you can find in the reading test. It can reasonably be inferred that strong mind in line 32 was a term generally intended to. Or in line 42, the author said that a certain hypothesis can be best tested by a trial. Based on the passage, which of the following is a hypothesis the author suggests? Okay. Now, the phrase liquid gold most directly suggests. Jadi spekulasi yang kebanyakan pertanyaannya but the author's suggestion. Atau you can conclude the author's suggestion from the passage. What does the author suggest? Okay. Next, the third, examination. We have to examine, which fall into the examination subcategory question you about the internal life, thought, feeling, motivation of the narrator author. We have to examine the author feeling, the narrator motivation, or someone mentioned in the passage, or the characters in the passage. Examination questions are the most complicated type of inference question. Why? Because we don't understand what the author is feeling. We don't know what the character is feeling, but we must find, or we must know the author's feeling by seeing or by reading the text, by finding some clues from the text. Jadi kita dipaksa untuk memahami apa yang author rasakan dengan melihat clue-clue atau tanda-tanda atau yang dia tulis yang ada dalam teks tersebut. So here are the questions, the example of question. The social psychologists mentioned in paragraph 2 would likely describe the death weight loss phenomenon as, okay, blah blah blah. The passage indicates that when the narrator began working for Edward Crimsworth, he viewed Crimsworth as a blah blah blah. How can we know his view? Okay, we can find it by finding some clues from the text. Kita nggak bisa tahu kan pandangan dia, tapi kita bisa baca dan bisa menemukan clue-clue dan relate it to our logical or our personal assumption, our personal experience. It can be inferred that the authors of passage 1 believe. So what is the belief? Apa yang dipercaya oleh author? We have to know it. It can most reasonably be inferred from passage 2 that Paine views historical precedent as blah blah blah. So this question asks about the view of the characters. The view from the characters. Beecher will most likely have react to line 65 to 68. Now blah 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 of passage 2. Okay. The reaction. There a reaction from one of the characteristic. Reaksi dari salah satu karakter. So tips for answering inference question. There are some tips. The first, read the questions carefully and understand what you are being asked. Okay. There are three kinds of inference question: deduction, speculation, and examination. And you can carefully read the question and understand what kind of question is it. Then make sure you understand the main idea of the whole paragraph. The main idea is important, really important. Then we have to understand, benar-benar memahami topik utama dari paragraf tersebut atau the whole passage. Use the process of elimination, and this is important. After understanding the question, then we reread the passage, understanding the main idea, and then we have to eliminate some answer choices. The answer is incorrect if it's beyond the scope of the information in the passage. In other words, you can't really make this inference based only on the passage. You must use your logical thinking. Okay. The main thing here that we have to eliminate some answer choices based on the information from the passage. Eliminate the incorrect answer. The next, pay attention to answer containing extreme language, such as always, forever, never, all, totally, completely, or extreme phrases. Pay attention ketika menjawab extreme language or reading extreme language, such as always, forever, so or extreme phrase such this is the only x or this is the limit of y and so on. They are used as traps and are often incorrect. Pay attention to answer only repeating words from the passage, but don't answer the question. Pay attention to answer only repeating words from the passage, but don't answer the question. These answers look appealing because they contain technical words that you saw in the passage, but if you read them carefully, they aren't correct. Jadi, ada kata-kata yang biasanya sama dengan apa yang ada di teks, tapi itu bukan termasuk dalam jawaban yang benar. Itu hanya trap atau jebakan. Dan ketika kita baca diulang lagi, oh, this answer is incorrect. Okay, let's see the example. This is the text. So let's see the question. Which of the following can be inferred from the paragraph about the location of the meteorite impact in Mexico? Which of the following? Okay, let's see. We have to understand the question carefully. We read it carefully. Which of the following can be inferred from the paragraph about the location of the meteorite impact in Mexico? After understanding the main idea of the topic, we can also find, setelah memahami topik utama, apa ide pokok dari teks tersebut, kita juga bisa, setelah membaca pertanyaannya, kita menemukan keyword from the question. Okay, after that reread the text, and the next read the answer choices and eliminate some incorrect answer. So after that, we can find that the correct answer is C. There's no mention of the geologist. Climate isn't named as. Choice C is the best choice. As we see from our notes under the main ideas, the collision occurred in 1980 and geologists didn't locate the area until 1990. Nah, di sini pilihan A, B, dan D salah, and we have to find the reason. Nah, itu pentingnya eliminate some answer choices. Okay, later we will practice more about inference question. So that's all the explanation. Thank you. If you have any question, please ask more. Thanks for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.